everyone, welcome to another episode of Crash Cinnamon. And this one, I'm excited. Crash Cinnamon podcast is 1 year old. Oh my god! Amazing, fantastic. Words cannot express how thrilled and honored I have been to be. Even though it's my podcast, I still feel honored, like I've had this space to share what I feel, think, know, share the voices of other people. It's been brilliant, and I look forward to the next and the next and the next, as God wills it for me to be on here. So what does it mean for us to be 1 year old? It means, hey, it's a milestone. I almost at one point didn't think I'll get this far because of schedules, work, obviously being a new parent, technology changing up everything. Then we are living in this pandemic, so yeah, it almost felt like all the forces were fighting against me, or situations rather. And it's easy to give an excuse, and it's hard sometimes to see when it's murky, when you're deep in the dirt, in the trenches. It's hard to remember why you started the journey in the first place. And I think that's what I want to focus on today, even in this podcast, even though it's a celebration podcast. It's remembering what you learned in the beginning, because when you go into the trenches, and all of us go into the trenches, we have that moment where it's all dark and it's looking so bleak, and you have to remember why you chose the journey you're in, especially if it's your passion, if it's your drive, it's whatever it is, whether it's a career path, whether it's a life relationship path, whether it's an investment business, whether it's a family life. It's very, sometimes it can be very lonely, and you feel like you're in a tunnel, because when you look, there's nobody doing the same thing as you, and rightly so. In sometimes we feel we have to be in a group like situation, and sometimes it's just you, and accepting that it's supposed to be just you doing what you're doing is not necessarily our culture right now. And I'm not saying that in the sense of nobody else should occupy the space. However, you have a God-given talent, you have a God-given mindset, and you have things in you only you can bring out forth. And that's what I mean. It's only you who should be doing it, because it's only you who has the vision and the skill sets and everything. And it may be something very simple, and it can be something very complicated. I mean, when we look up, we always look at the past to learn when we're in the present. For example, when we're looking at Microsoft, we're looking even at Facebook, all these things, Instagram, all the Twitter, especially when you think about even simple things like basket weaving, people who use clay in different amazing ways to make houses, to make pots, to create amazing things. It's things like that where you have to see that it can be the genius of one person, and doesn't mean it will always be fun and interesting and you're all bubbly and you're like, no, but it doesn't mean that also you'll find satisfaction and joy and fulfillment of a different kind, that sometimes it's not easy to explain or put it down in paper. Yes. Why? Because you're doing what is naturally, and organically, actually, let me even use that word, organically supposed to do. So, what to expect for Crash Cinnamon? More episodes, more conversations, just more information so that we can all learn as I learn. And also, I'm thankful so much to all the people who've been guests on this podcast. some of you I know you, some I've never met you and I didn't know you, and then I approached you and you were really gracious and agreed to be a guest on my podcast. So I will continue looking out for people who I feel will resonate with this podcast and share all that is amazing and wonderful and can help us grow and be better human beings. Because we all have ways we can be, sandpapered. Things we need to let go, things we need to embrace, things we need to continue to work on. So we are 1 year. And in true style of myself, I just wanted to remain authentic to why I am here. No big whistles and all this kind of things, but just to say thank you. I want to say a big shout out to the people who have been really encouraging me with text messages, telling me to go on. There's a particular lady, I just have to say thank you, and she's called Sissy, and she lives in Manchester, and many of you contact me and say, this has helped you whichever way and this, but she just keeps on saying, keep going on, thank you, loving the content. And even in random months where I think nobody has listened, she'll be there popping up, and I just want to say thank you for supporting me. And I'm grateful that I have things that you find interesting and can listen to. And thank you for those who share this podcast with your friends, relatives, far and wide. That's why we've been able to reach nations have never stepped foot in, and I don't know if I'll ever. Hopefully I will. It'd be nice to meet all of you listeners wherever you are across the world. So thank you very much. As we celebrate this 1 year milestone, I hope you can celebrate as well, because my milestone is your milestone, because you've been on this journey together. And for those who've just come on board, welcome. Stick around, let us know. Thank you for also forgot, I wanted to say a special mention to those who've been sharing different techniques here and there for the podcast. Thank you so much, and it's helping me a lot. So continue interacting with the content of this podcast, and don't let this year pass before you actually live out your purpose, live out what you want to do. Sometimes it's not easy. Probably if you're in a full-time job, you want to do something else, you can transition slowly. Nobody says you have to quit today and do it tomorrow. You can transition slowly, but just also be honest with yourself. Keep checking, have realistic goals and realistic time frames as well of when you want to do what you want to do. Okay, but do not let that dream go. Okay, don't let that dream go. You hear my child in the background. That's motherhood for you. So don't let that dream go. If you need to have somebody else to make you accountable, do that. If you need mentorship this year, we still have a few months before the year is gone. Do it. Don't go at this life alone when there is resources, skills, people out there. Okay, so thank you for joining me on this very special podcast to celebrate the first year of Crash Cinema being live and in your ear. And thank you for the privilege to allow me to be in your space for this 1 year. See you on the next episode of Crash Cinema.